Hello and welcome to another video. This is Carrot Carries the World, and today I'm talking about relationships, and this is in regards to self-confidence. So if you've seen my other videos, I've talked about other subjects when it comes to self-confidence, anxiety, teenage years, finding your voice. So this time I'm talking about relationships. I've been married for 14 years this year. I've been together with my husband for 14 years this year. We've been married for 10 years, and we got married in 2006 in September. And I wanted to do this video. I want to start my anniversary videos, because I'm going to be doing some videos to kind of celebrate my 10-year anniversary, talk about, you know, if you're planning a wedding, anniversary coming up too. So I'm going to do this quickly because I'm trying to see my little boy. He's going to have his nap. But when it comes to relationships, when you're in a brand new relationships and you first meet somebody, it can really boost your confidence because you're in love. All you can think about is being that person, and you're on cloud 9, and you really think that, you know, everything, your life is now perfect because you've now met this person, and you know they've accepted of who you are. You know, your confidence is booming. But then there's the other side when it comes to self-confidence. You can start having doubts of, why is that person with me? You know, what if they meet somebody else? What do they see in me? You know, am I, you know, better than the other girlfriends they had, or am I completely different? And you know, do they still think about them? You know, am I, you know, don't I look better than them? So you can have like self-confidence doubts going in your mind when you meet somebody in relationships, and then that can lead to things of jealousy. The person's going to leave me at any point because they're going to find someone better. And one tip I would say is, when you have them doubts, is to take yourself out of the relationship, if you know what I mean. So not literally, but try and look at your relationship from a different perspective. So imagine you're watching yourself and your husband in a relationship, and or a spouse or whatever, you know, for even if you're in the same sex relationship, you know, you could still have them doubts. You know, I think it's what we need to, you know, accept is that it's human feeling to feel insecure, whether we're in a happy relationship or not. And so if you take yourself out and look at your, you know, relationship, you know, you can start thinking, what are the good things that are about your relationship, and what things you need to work on, what things, you know, just make you both clash. And I remember watching a cooking video, and of Barefoot Contessa, I think her name is, and she's a brilliant cook, and she said about her marriage, and she's obviously very content, very happy. Her husband, she said, you know, people say you need to work on a relationship, but what's there to work on if you love each other? And that is actually a good point. But you know, people are different when it comes to relationships. People that suffer insecurities, sometimes it can bring out, even though it's a happy relationship and that person loves them, sometimes it can bring out the worst in that person. Because for example, in my case, before I met my husband, I didn't really have a lot of boyfriends. I did see people before my husband, but I wasn't one of those who sort of had a boyfriend all the time. You know, there was a long stretch between, you know, being single, being in a relationship. And I suppose, I think in a good way, that gave me a chance to have my time for myself, so I didn't have to depend on anybody. I didn't have to worry about anybody else. I didn't have anybody else alone. It was just me, and I could go out whenever I want. I didn't have that kind of tie, and I don't think that I would have been ready for a kind of full relationship back then when I was in my late teens, early 20s. I didn't have crushes on people. In my case, when I you know, I remember sort of looking at other people's relationships and thinking, oh, I'm never going to be possessive, I'm never going to be jealous, I'm going to be my own person still. and in the end I end up being kind of completely opposite to what I expected I would be. And that can be the case sometimes when you think about how you think you're going to be in a relationship. Suddenly when you're in a relationship, it can be totally different when you're in the inside relationship to when you're on the outside. And that's the same relationship with yourself. I do think that in order for you to have a happy relationship with other people, you have to have a good relationship with yourself. And if you don't have that good relationship, then you need to work on that. That's a relationship that really you need to work on, is yourself. Once you work on yourself, then you can work on relationship with other people. But if you're constantly putting yourself down, then you're not having a good relationship with yourself. Sometimes it can be like your inner critic, for example. Everyone's got an inner critic, and sometimes some people can ignore their inner critic. Some people can listen to the inner critic but not let it affect them. There's other people that have an inner critic that can let it override what they do and how they go about their life. So it's building that relationship with yourself so you don't allow your insecurities to take over your life and take over your decisions. And what we need to accept is that it's a human feeling to have those feelings, because it's a kind of our way of protecting ourselves. But at the same time, in order for you to take an opportunity, to have a really good relationship with somebody, you have to get over that boundary of those insecurities. And like I say, if you're in a relationship and you're having them doubts of why is that person with me, then answer those questions. Why is that person chosen to be with me? Well, for example, myself, obviously my husband chose to be with me because he found that we had a really good connection. Even though in some ways we're very different, we're also very similar. We like doing the same things. Like we always go out for coffee once a week, and like when we have that time to ourselves, we don't like to really plan too much. We like to just go with the flow and go out for a drink somewhere, visit a park, and have a walk somewhere. So it's fine. I found in those things that you both like, that can bring you together. And I think having that alone time, I think with being a parent, I think the relationship between me and my husband has changed, and I think children do change relationships because it suddenly becomes about that person, which it should be, rather than about the two of you. And sometimes it can make you clash. You can go through the tussle of who's more tired, who does more, who does less, and go through those little battles. Who is the most superior? And really, said to Elf sometimes when we have argued, is that we need to stop this, because it's constantly feeling like a battle when it shouldn't be. We should both be on the same level when it comes to looking after our son. We should be working together because we are a team, and we shouldn't allow. And one thing I made adamant that I don't happen is for our son to bring us against each other. So we, any rules that we set with our son, we both stick to them rules. One don't say yes and the other one says no. We are agreement that if one says no, it means no. It doesn't mean that the other person can say yes. Because sometimes when you have children, that can be that battle. And I think when it comes to being a parent relationship, you do need to work on your insecurities, because one thing that I have learned since being a parent is that children do pick up on things, and you'll be surprised at what they pick up on. And like when, for example, when I shout at my son, which I am guilty of, I have done, I found that's got me nowhere. But when I speak to my son firmly, but not shouting, but keeping my voice stop, then I do get a better response. And that's the other thing when it comes to relationships and your self-confidence. when you get them insecurities, sometimes it can affect your communication with people, because especially when they so you're really annoying me, for example, that can come back if you're lacking self-confidence as oh, that person doesn't want to be with me anymore. And it doesn't mean that at all. It's just that what you're doing is annoying that person. It doesn't mean that they don't want to be with you. It's just that they're saying that what you're doing is getting on their nerves. So instead of treating that as that person doesn't be with me, well, look at it. Look at the situation. What are you doing? You know, and if you find that if that thing, example, if you've, for example, me and my husband, sometimes I will speak to him in a shitty way, and sometimes I don't realise I'm doing it, and it's when he says, you don't know, you should talk to me like that, and then I go into sometimes I can go into the defensive mode of, no, I'm not doing that, and then I try and think of all the excuses of why I have the right to speak to him like that, when actually I don't, because I know if he speaks to me like it, I'll be like, no, you don't talk to me like that. So it is working on, you know, taking criticism when you're in a relationship as a way of that person saying, they don't want to be with me. It's taking it on board and thinking, okay, perhaps I should stop and give that person some breathing space. Perhaps, you know, I should stop doing that and work on that. Same with other relationships, you know, relationships with food, relationships with your weight, relationships with your image. You know, I did this video quite a few times, and each time I thought, I'm not happy with that. The last one, I didn't like the way I looked in the video, and so I thought, okay, do I want to do the video and be thinking, oh God, what these people watching are not going to like it, or do I think, okay, do I want to change it? Okay, yes. So that's why I've redone it now. And it's made sure that I've learned from that video. Why didn't it work? Because the way I was sitting, it wasn't very flattering. The way I was looking as if I was kind of like stuck because I was sitting in a chair in my living room. So that's why I've redone it again. Building on your relationship with yourself, with your insecurities. Once you can build a good relationship with your insecurities and allow them to come in, but not allowing them to take over what you want to do with your life, then that is build a good relationship with your insecurities, and that in turn will then build a good relationship with yourself, and in turn that will then build a good relationship with other people. Because if you don't have that good relationship with yourself, then that is going to affect you having a good relationship with other people and other things, like materialistic things, like food, for example. You know, I didn't always have a good relationship with food. It was a constant battle of, should I eat that, shouldn't I eat that, how many calories is that, you know, people, if I eat that, people are going to think I'm fat. The constant badgering yourself, and I would think to myself, you know, if that was somebody in the street who came along and said, oh, you shouldn't eat that, it's going to make you fat, how would I respond to that? Would I be like, oh gosh, you know, okay, perhaps I don't eat that then? And I'll be like, excuse me, who do you think you're talking to? So, but it's kind of, sometimes we don't deal with the criticism that we give to ourselves, which can then really make us upset. If you think about it, life's so short that do I really want to be going over in my head constantly for the next 10 years over food when I could be out enjoying my life? You know, do I really want to be constantly criticising myself, which is bringing me down, which is not allowing me to get on with my life, which is affecting me having relationships with other people? Do I really want to be constantly in this battle of not feeling good about myself? Or do you want to feel good about yourself? And if so, how are you going to go about it? You know, what's the one thing that you can change today that will make you have a good relationship with yourself, and in turn have a good relationship with other people? And I think a lot of the time we look at other people and we compare ourselves. That is a worst thing that you can do. Never compare yourself to other people, because everybody is different. Relationship where you can be happy with yourself, but you know that you can go about things in a positive way that will help you to feel better with yourself. And in turn, once you have a good relationship with food. If it's something that's bringing you down, like food, your weight, if you're constantly looking in the mirror and think, I hate that image that I see in the mirror, then, take yourself out of, imagine taking yourself out of your body and looking at yourself. And if it's because what you see in your head is different to what you see in the mirror, then think, well, what is it about that image that I see in my head that's different to the image that I see in the mirror? What is it about that image that is different to that person that you see? Is it because they come across more confident, because they're a certain size? And ask you why. Because I think we always sometimes want what we don't have, but then when we do have that, then we're still not happy. Constantly in a vicious circle with yourself of never finding what you truly want, because you're constantly thinking, oh, I want to look this way, I want to look that way, but you haven't really addressed the issue as to why. Is it about that famous person, for example, that you see on TV that you really want to be like? What is it about that person? How do they come across? What is their body image? How do people respond to them? And a lot of the time it isn't about size, it's about how you come across. So if you're, for example, if you're shy, like I have been sometimes that's made me look as though I'm quite reserved and as if I don't really want to be part of a group, when actually I do. It's just that I'm shy and I hold my guard up. So now I am working towards making myself a bit more, so I'm not reserved and I do join in. That I make the effort, and so going to work, instead of waiting for somebody to say good morning to me, I want to say good morning to them rather than waiting for them to say it. Because sometimes when you're insecurity and you're shy, sometimes you could do that. You think, oh, if you say good morning to a person, it makes you seem as if their face, but actually it's not. It's the way you do it. If you don't get right up close to them to the point where you're nose touching and saying good morning, then they're not going to be like, oh, say good morning to me. If you just go in and say, hello, good morning, how was your day, then you'll find that you do get a more positive response when you go in, you don't say nothing. So it's working on those sort of things with yourself that can make a huge difference with building relationships with other people. And it is the simple things like saying good morning rather than sneaking into work and not looking at anybody and then hoping that somebody will speak to you, because you could go the whole day with nobody speaking to you at all, and then you'll feel isolated, and then you feel that you're not part of anything. Then that's when you can feel other insecurities about the way you look, the way you talk, the way you eat, can all play a factor in the way you feel about yourself, and then in turn affect your relationship with other people. So that's what I want to talk today about, is relationships, because when you lack self-confidence, it can play a massive part in your relationships. And I think the reason why I think me and Elle have been together for so long is because we argue, but we always know how to compromise, and we always know how to make each other laugh, and we have that middle ground which holds us together. I think if you can find that middle ground, and if you're in an unhappy relationship which is bringing you down, which is making you feel like you don't want to be here, then you need to work on that. You need to either step out of a relationship and look at what's happening. Is it yourself? Is it something that you feel that you are responsible for, and if so, why? And also look at, why is that person upsetting me? Why are they constantly, for example, putting you down, like emotional abuse? Emotional abuse can play a massive factor, as well as physical abuse, because physical abuse will leave you bruises, but they more or less will heal. But emotional abuse will always stay with you, and will always play in your mind if you don't deal with the situation. And it is very important, if you are in an abusive relationship, to seek help. I don't want to say kind of get out of a relationship, because a lot of people say that, but I know from when I was a kid, and my dad could be quite verbal sometimes, and that's not always easy just to walk away. But deal with the situation, or take yourself out of the situation for a bit, and then because when you do that, because my husband, we just split for a month, and that I see that as that really helped us, because you have that time to think for yourselves, and then we did get back together. So when it comes to relationships, don't beat yourself up over and stress over the little things. Really can be solved just by asking yourself questions of, why is that person with me? Well, why are they with you? Because do you make them laugh? Do you have good conversations? Do you find that you just have a great connection with that person? The same things, the things that you really enjoy, that you like doing with that person. And I'm not talking about sort of being emotional relationship. I mean relationship with like friends and friends and other members of the family. Not just those that you're partner with or you have a sexual connection with, but those that you relations with. Because relationships is, to me, companionship, whether it be a boyfriend, brother, sister, and even them relationships with brother and sister can break down. Me and my brother never had a good relationship for a long time, but now, because I think we both took ourselves out of that situation now, we do have a better relationship, because now we've got on with our life and buried everything after the hardship. The worst thing to do is hold grudges, because if you hold a grudge, the only person you hold a grudge with, the only person that ends up being upset by that is yourself. That person will never be upset because they've probably forgotten about it. I think holding grudges when it comes to relationship is one thing that you do need to work on, because grudges doesn't solve anything. It just beats you up and it eats away at you, but that person never really gets affected because they've probably forgotten about it. So, but anyway, I want to leave that here. I'm going to talk more and do another video about self-confidence, but until then I will say goodbye. Remember, give this video a thumbs up if you like the video, and remember to subscribe if you would like to see more. But until then, take care. I'll see you soon. Bye.